What's up, guys? What's up, Brayton? What is up, Anthony Holmes? What's up, guys? What's going on? Welcome to the divisional playoff predictions for this one. So, what is going on, guys? Thanks for tuning in to this one. And I got a special guest along with me. He also does what I do, play-by-play and watch-alongs, also some Fortnite and other games as well. So I'm going to bring in my special guest for the evening, the Coach Plays. What up, Coach?
What's up, YouTube? And what's up, Butcher Block? Butcher Block, appreciate you having me here, man. I'm excited. We got a lot of great games coming up this weekend. Just tomorrow on the eve of divisional round. It's a lot to be excited for. So yeah, man, I appreciate you having me on.
No problem, Coach. This gonna be a good weekend of football. We got some good games, some interesting games, some big matchups too. The whole not only tomorrow but Sunday as well. Both days are gonna be good football. There's gonna be some good football being played this weekend.
Absolutely.
So let's jump right into it. We're going to start off with the early game, which Minnesota, the Vikings, after taking care of business against the Saints, which was shocking to say the least.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
They are on the road and they are traveling to San Fran to play probably one of the toughest teams in the league at the moment, the Niners, at home. The Niners are at home. That's going to be a tough ask for them.
It's absolutely going to be a tough ask. But I mean, so I watched that game between Minnesota and the Saints, and while I was shocked, I when you're talking about Super Bowl predictions and stuff out of who's in the playoffs, I 100% thought the Saints were going to represent the NFC. So, I mean, that bracket's busted as far as that's concerned, alongside a lot of other brackets. But when I watched that game, Vikings played very stingy defense. They ran the ball well. Dalvin Cook had about 96 yards rushing, but he had 2 critical touchdowns. And then when Kirk Cousins, who constantly just gets put down, they're always saying Kirk Cousins can't win the big game. Kirk Cousins can't do this. Well, he did. I mean, he showed up. When he needed to make a big play, he absolutely did. And then there in overtime, he hits like a 50-yard pass to Thielen.
The big pass to Thielen.
Line.
Yep.
Sets up the touchdown, and they upset the Saints. And I've already told a few people this, and I said it might be a hot take. Take it for what it is. But I think I think I'm leaning towards an upset. I think Minnesota goes to San Francisco. They're going to play another kind of, make it cloudy football game, kind of messy. And also, I think it's on Garoppolo. I think Garoppolo has to prove that he can do it in a big moment, which he hasn't. And the Vikings have a lot of playoff experience over there. Vikings have been a really good football team for the past few years. They just haven't gotten over the hump and made it to a Super Bowl. They've got weapons. Their defense is playing good. While I think San Francisco is a really good team too, I guess I'm just not 100% sold on them. And I think a lot of people's not giving Minnesota credit. And I think Minnesota could go in there and just shock some people.
I'll kind of play devil's advocate and kind of play both sides here. I'm leaning the one. So let me just get this out of the way. I'm going to pick the Niners, but it's going to be because of the atmosphere, the home field advantage. But Minnesota is going to go in there and give them one heck of a game.
I agree.
They're going to go. Minnesota's people don't realize Minnesota's offensive line the last 4 games has hit their stride. They have played incredibly well. They have kept Cousins upright for most of the game. And as long as you don't lean on Cousins too much and put too much pressure on him, he can still perform at somewhat of an above average level. And with the talent surrounding him, if you have an above average quarterback on that team, it's, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
And another thing that Minnesota has in their favor, they're not playing under the lights. Kirk Cousins in primetime is not good. It's an afternoon game. So, I mean, it is the playoffs, but they aren't playing under the lights. It's not the primetime game. But I think Minnesota's running game, the best battle of that game is going to be the Minnesota O-line and Dalvin Cook versus the front seven of the Niners.
Which is a good front seven.
Can that front seven overpower the Minnesota line, which has hit their stride lately?
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's it. Whoever wins in the trenches in this game is going to win. And I think that that Niners team is just they're playing just at a different clip right now. But Jimmy G worries me, though. Jimmy Garoppolo does worry me. You're either going to get a really high level game out of him, or that pressure is going to get to him and he's going to soil himself, and you could see Minnesota shock them. But I am going to pick the Niners. I'm just leaning that way for the home field, and I think that their front seven is just too good. It's too good. I think their front seven is very good. I think that's what makes that defense.
Yeah, I agree. We're going to talk about the Tennessee Titans game here in a minute, and their game against the Baltimore Ravens, and it's kind of the same point of that game here. I'm trying to pull up your video there so I can chat to the people also in the chats. Appreciate everybody being in the chat, guys. But it's kind of the same thing as far as the Titans, but I think Minnesota has no pressure. They have a little bit more pressure than the Titans are concerned because they've been there the past few years. But I think it's San Francisco with all the pressure. I mean, the great year that they have had.
Minnesota's playing with house money.
Yeah, exactly. Like, there's a lot of pressure for San Francisco. Okay, well, you did it all year. Well, now it's time for the playoffs, and you better get the job done. Whenever a team goes 13-3, 14-2, whatever it is, the pressure's on you to not let all that work you just had in the regular season go to waste. So while, yes, it's a benefit that they're at home and things like that, Minnesota's already went into one hostile place, knocked them off with the Saints. Just like the Titans with the Patriots, they've got that momentum to carry in. Now, where I think it helps out San Francisco, and once again, we'll get to this, where I think one flaw the Ravens have that Titans fans are going to hope that they can bank on, the 49ers didn't rest anybody in week 17. So they got their rest with the wild card bye week. So that's 1 week. So I don't think there's going to be a whole lot of rust there for the 49ers. Now, what I say about the Ravens sat their guys week 17 and the bye week. That's going we'll get to that, but that's like 2-3 weeks off for the Ravens. There could be some rust there. But the 49ers couldn't rest their guys week 17. I don't know if y'all remember, they had that big matchup with the Seahawks.
Had to play. They had to.
It came right down to the
lock
line.
Up the division, yeah.
Yep. So I don't think there's going to be as much rust there. So I think it's going to be on the 49ers, how they come out, how they handle the pressure, how they handle the spotlight. Minnesota already got something done that people didn't think they would, and that's knock off the Saints. So if they can keep that momentum, I do think I don't have the line up for me right now. I don't know what that line is, where it's set at, but I think we're in for a really close game. I think we're in for a good game, and I think turnovers is going to be the key when you're talking about that football game. It's does Kirk Cousins turn the ball over, or does a Jimmy G turn the ball over? I think it could be a battle of defenses when. Well,
see, that's I don't know if you've noticed it, but there were some games where Jimmy G fell apart, where the wheels fell off the wagon there for the Niners, and when it went really bad for them, when it went bad, it went really bad.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's got the capability of being like a top 10 quarterback. And then at the same time, I think he's got the capability of being a bottom 10 quarterback. Like,
Hmm.
it's just the ebbs and flows. And I think at this game, they don't need him at the high. They just can't have him at the low. They need him to be right there in the middle, kind of be that quote unquote game manager, which I hate when people give the game manager uh, phrase such a bad name. I mean, game manager means you're managing the game, and a lot of times you're going to manage it right to a W. Like
What
you
do you
don't.
think?
I've
What do
seen
you
a
think
lot of
Brady's been
quarterbacks.
doing? Brady's been doing it for the last 5 years.
Absolutely. I mean, and he's winning Super Bowls. I think last year when they won the Super Bowl, I think I seen a crazy
That's
stat
all
that he
they
didn't
did.
even throw a touchdown.
One touchdown the whole game.
Yeah. So, I mean, there you go. I've seen a lot of quarterbacks throw for 400, 500 yards and get losses. So, they just need Jimmy G to manage the game. The 49ers want to run the football. They've
Hey,
got
hold on
two
one
stud
sec.
running backs.
Let me just cut you. Let me stop you for one.
Yeah, you're good. You're good.
Tom Kelly, thanks for the $1.99 super chat, my man. Dono hype in the house. Thanks a lot, buddy. Much appreciated. Have a good night.
That's awesome, Tom. Appreciate you very much, guys. But yeah, the 49ers want to run the football. They've got two really good running backs. They have a good offensive line. They're going to want to run the football and protect the football. And I think it just comes down to does Jimmy G protect the football, hit receivers when they're open, dinking and dunking, taking what the defense gives them, or does he make a few costly turnovers? The Vikings need a few turnovers. They need to force a few turnovers for them to be able to come away with a win. But I think it could be a close game. And I mean, if I had to put a score on it, I think Minnesota Vikings 27, San Francisco 24.
Yeah, no, yeah, that's what I mean. I think it's gonna. I'm with you. It's gonna be a real close game. I think a deter like an X factor in this game. That's what I'm trying to say. Like I think like an X factor in this game. I think it's gonna be Kyle Rudolph because I think San Fran's going to be so worried about Thielen and Diggs taking the top off that D that they're going to leave the middle of that field. They're going to leave that middle of the field open. And I think Rudolph on any of the San Fran linebackers is a mismatch. And I think if Minnesota's smart, I think they'll throw to Rudolph this game and let Rudolph's huge. He's a massive human being. And I would just let him feast on those linebackers and just hit him in the flats and hit him. I would throw to him 10 times this game because I think he's going to be the biggest mismatch.
He absolutely is a mismatch. I mean, you're talking about a really big tight end who, if you watch that game against the Saints, he scored the game-winning touchdown because he's so massive. And I mean, there was some Saints fans out there complaining of a no call. There was hands fighting right there. You can't make that call. I mean, the DB's got his hands on him. He's got his. It was a good no call in my opinion.
I like that they let him play. I like that they let him play in the end zone.
And if they let him play, just call it fair, call it like that the whole game. So I mean, I thought it was fine. But no, he's an absolute mismatch. And what makes him even more, you've already hit on this, what makes him even more of a threat is that he's got a Adam Thielen and a Stephon Diggs to the outside. And then when Dalvin Cook gets cooking, like no pun intended on that.
You leave that 8 to 15 yard window of the field behind the linebackers and in front of the safety. You leave that seam wide open.
Yeah, no. So, I mean, the Vikings, they have a lot of weapons on that team, and the 49ers have to know coming in that they've got their work cut out for them. And so they're not going to be able to slouch over and just find an easy win. The Minnesota Vikings aren't coming in there, feeling good about the Saints win, and it's been a good year. The Minnesota Vikings are coming in to go to the NFC Championship. Yeah.
And I tell you one thing, if Minnesota gets up, let's say Minnesota goes up 13 points, like quick, like let's say in the first, 18 minutes of the game, they're up 13 points. It's going to be interesting because San Fran hasn't had to play from behind a lot. And playing from behind in a game of that magnitude is a lot different than when you have a 7 or 10 point lead.
Especially when everything has went peachy for you all year. You know, like they haven't
Yep.
had a whole lot of adversity all year. So the Vikings need to go in, try to give them that adversity early, and then let's see what type of team for San Francisco answers.
The two teams that challenged them, coach, were the Ravens, who the Ravens took every bit. It took every bit to beat them. You know, it took every ounce of energy they had, and a Justin Tucker field goal, you know, to
I
in the
remember that
rain
one.
to beat them. It's they're beatable. They are beatable. It's going to be a good one.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I don't think there's a team in the playoffs right now that isn't beatable.
Mm-hmm.
I think anyone can go to the Super Bowl right now, and I think that's good for the NFL.
Very, very good. All right, we're going to head into the next game, the 8:15 game on Saturday night, and I'll let you lead off with this one. Go for it.
Yeah, I mean, we got a lot to be excited about. You know, for people here in Nashville, if you don't know my channel, I'm the Coach Plays. I live just outside of Nashville. I'm a big Tennessee Titans fan. I'll be having a live watch along of the Tennessee Titans game tomorrow. But yeah, big Tennessee Titans fan here. We got a big game. It's the Tennessee Titans at the Baltimore Ravens. For a lot of people who might be in here, I know we got a lot of Butchers followers here. I know we got a lot of Patriots fans or anything like that. If you don't know a whole lot about the Tennessee Titans and Baltimore Ravens, like there's a playoff rivalry there. And it dates back all the way back to like 2001 when it was Eddie George and Ray Lewis and the Titans went to the Super Bowl in 99, but every Tennessee Titan player would tell you their year to win it all was in 2001. We hosted that divisional round. Baltimore came in there. They're good, but they wasn't like the Tennessee Titans. And it was a back and forth, very violent, physical game. And then a Ray Lewis pick six late in the fourth quarter seals that win for them.
I remember that game.
Oh, brutal, man. And the Titans fans remember it. And then it was like in 2003, 2004, another playoff loss to them. And then you fast forward to, I think it's 2008, 2009. Tennessee Titans go 13-3. They was like 10-0 at one point. The number one seed, I think, in the NFL. They host a playoff game in Nashville in the divisional round as a one seed. Baltimore Ravens comes in there. We got Chris Johnson. He's running wild. And the Baltimore Ravens, once again, physical game, twisting up his elbow or his ankle. They take Chris Johnson out. Ravens go on to beat us in that one. I mean, there's been a lot of playoff animosity between these two teams. Eddie George just sent out a video. He does hype videos for the Titans when it's playoff time.
Nice.
He did one against for the playoffs. Yeah, he's a Nashvilleian, man. He's a great ambassador for the team. But he released another one, and he makes it known. He said there's no love lost between these two teams. And while, yes, there's ever since the last time we played in the playoffs, there's no Tennessee Titans that's currently on the team. I promise you right now, Eddie George has been in that locker room, and he's telling the Titans what this rivalry means. So it's going to be a big
like
game.
when he played.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, and it's going to be pretty well the same game. I mean, the Ravens, they haven't changed the way they play football. Offensively, yes, there's some new schemes to what they do. And the Tennessee Titans haven't changed the way they play football. It's hard nose, run the ball down your mouth, play physical football, and play good defense. And we're going to have that same game tomorrow night. I think it's going to be really good. I think a lot of Raven fans are out there not giving the Tennessee Titans credit. I think a lot of ESPN analysts out there, they don't, while, you know, they give Titans some kudos for what they've done so far. I don't think there's a whole lot of people giving them a lot of a shot in this game. The spread comes out at 9.5. I think that's too high. I think we're in for another really close game. I think the weather is going to be bad. I think both teams are going to run the football. And I think it's going to be a close game.
I heard you guys are getting some nasty weather this weekend.
Yep, we
Your
are.
weather's going to look like your weather's going to look like ours last weekend.
Yeah, I think honestly, it's probably going to be worse too. Like from like a rainfall perspective, I think I need to look into Baltimore. I know it's going to rain, but last time I heard, it could be a downpour during the game, and I go back and forth onto who that benefits, and I think it would benefit the Tennessee Titans just a little bit more. I mean, they both do the same thing, but Derrick Henry's fine carrying the ball 30 or more times. Lamar Jackson's fine with carrying the ball maybe 15 times. I don't know if you want him carrying the ball more than 15 times, taking all those hits, and then with ball security and things like that. So it's going to be interesting to see. I think there's a lot of storylines that go into this game.
I was just
And
gonna say, I know the Titans are gonna hit him too. They're gonna hit him. Like
oh yeah, without a doubt. Now
they're gonna
getting
punish
to
him.
him is going to be a question too. You got to get to him to hit him, and the dude is talented. I just love the offense they run. It's a very triple option type of offense, like you would see back in the 50s and 40s or whatnot. But they do it out of a spread pistol formation. At any point, there could be 3 or 4 guys that are possibly could get the ball, and that's why a lot of times you see someone like a Mark Ingram bust off 30-yard runs, and it's because linebackers are having to stay home worried about Lamar Jackson. Or then when you key on a Mark Ingram, Lamar's gotten really good at pulling the ball late, reading defenses, and getting yards. So I love what they do on offense, and it's going to be a whole lot of challenge for the Tennessee Titans to, contain that offense.
If the Titans beat the Ravens, that's massive because that's been probably the best or second best team in the league, or the top 3 teams in the league. If the Titans can go in there and punch them in the mouth, that's a statement game. That's a statement to the rest of the teams in the playoffs. To go in there and punch Baltimore in the mouth and beat them, that's going to be a statement game.
And I mean, in my opinion, you knock off the top 2 teams in the AFC. I still had the Patriots over the Kansas City Chiefs as far as AFC tier opponents. And so, while beating the Ravens doesn't guarantee you a win over the Chiefs or doesn't guarantee you a win over the Texans, their chances all of a sudden to actually realistically make a Super Bowl run go up tremendously if
they triple. They triple.
Yeah. Because
all you got to do is get through Kansas City.
Yeah, Kansas City or Houston. While yes, I do think it's going to be Kansas City. Kansas City, their defense is vulnerable. Like they're very beatable. And then Houston, I think Houston is. You don't never know what you're going to get. To be honest, I've seen them come out flat. The Buffalo Bills should have beat Houston.
And here's the thing, right? You know what? Let's say Houston already played a really good game last weekend, so they've kind of been up, down, up. So they could play this weekend and lay an egg, and lay an absolute egg. I totally agree with everything you said. I'll start with this. I like the way Vrabel coaches. The reason one of the main reasons why the Titans went into Foxborough and absolutely just took apart the Patriots were, one, Vrabel understands that mindset that Belichick and his, he understands the Patriot way. And the Patriots rely so much on people going in there and they look up at the banners and they see the fans and it's the Patriot mystique. It's a reason why it's people discount it, but it is. For some reason, the bad juju in the air gets the best of some of these coaches, and they just lose their minds. They lose their minds in Foxborough, and they do dumb stuff in the last 10 minutes of the game that loses them the game. Vrabel came out in the second half after Derrick Henry absolutely tore the Patriots apart in the first half and said, you know what? They tried to throw. The first 8 minutes of the third quarter, they tried to throw. And Vrabel was like, nope, this ain't working. And they gave the whole fourth quarter was Derrick Henry. Let's give it to Henry and let's let him demolish, let's just let him run it into the, let's just, if Henry needs to carry this team, Vrabel does. He was not afraid to just say, look, we got to go back to running the ball. And they went right back to running the ball. And look what happened. Look at the time of possession from like 7 minutes into the third all the way to the end of the game. How do you beat the Patriots? You keep Brady off the field.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I've had, I've watched them all year, and you can tell there's a lot of Belichick in them. What's Bill Belichick and the Patriots known for? They're a lot of times you see the Patriots either down or tied around the half, And then Bill Belichick and that coaching staff is able to have a halftime where they can make adjustments. And that's when Patriots win games. And that's what the Tennessee Titans have done all year. Like, we haven't blown no
Yep.
one out in the first half, but I do actually believe like we're number one in the league as far as offense is concerned in the second half in the NFL. And our defense is right there with it. Like, what Mike Vrabel does as far as an offense and defense or halftime adjustment is very Patriot-esque. He's learned from the best when it comes to that, and they made great adjustments there. And some Tennessee Titans fans down here starting to get up in arms about, well, Tannehill didn't play a good game or whatnot. I say it ain't Tannehill. The New England Patriots have a great defensive back core, and they clamped up on the Titans receivers. I thought it was more on the receivers rather than it was Tannehill. Receivers weren't getting open. Tannehill was having to make tight throws. Now, when he needed to make a big throw, he did in that game. But, Mike Vrabel was, being very smart and keeping it simple and saying, look, the Patriots are better at DBs than I think our wide receivers are. But where the weakness of the New England Patriots defense, in my opinion, was the defensive line. And even when they loaded the box,
linebackers too. Cover linebackers are where they struggled. Tight ends ate them up all year.
Yeah, no, absolutely. The other Coach K's in the house. Appreciate you, the other Coach K's. The Carver family's now in the house, ending what has been an epic stream tonight.
An awesome WWE stream. Awesome.
Yeah, if no one has
awesome.
If no one has the Carver family, lock him up, guys, because big things are really coming to that channel. But
I think your brother found his calling.
I think absolutely too. It was pump. It got me back into WWE. I tell you that. I haven't watched a WWE match in probably 2 or 3 years until today, so I'm back in it. But no, I mean they went to their bread and butter, and I thought it was against a weakness of the New England Patriots. So I mean, yeah, Mike Vrabel and this staff has really done a great job. And it's not just Mike Vrabel, too. They got Dan Pease, a great defensive coordinator who, may I remind you, came from Baltimore Ravens. He retired. And then Vrabel, when he got the job, he retired that year from Baltimore as their D coordinator. And then Vrabel got the job for the Titans like 1 month later and talked him out of retirement. And now he's been a great defensive coordinator. So that's going to be interesting to see there. I will hit on one point. I kind of already talked about it at the start of the stream, talking about Minnesota Vikings and the 49ers, talking about bye weeks. And I don't think the 49ers are going to be very rusty because they played week 17. Here's the one thing me as a Titans fans holding on to, and I think a lot of Tennessee Titans fans are saying out there, and the media might not be talking about it enough, but the Baltimore Ravens sat all their starters on both sides of the ball week 17. They had nothing to play for. And everybody's like, well, that's fine. That's smart. They don't want to get hurt. And it is smart. But there is some concern to that because they also didn't have a game in the bye week. So you're talking about 3 weeks. They will kick this ball off tomorrow, and there will be 3 weeks, 20 days from the last time those starters have played a meaningful snap. For an offense that was cooking, on pace, not missing a beat, now all of a sudden they haven't played a meaningful snap in 20 days. That's an opportunity for the Titans because it's an opportunity for the Ravens to come out a little sluggish, a little rusty.
And yep.
Yeah. If the Titans can find a way to jump out 10-0, 14-0 on the Ravens, look out. Like, now the Titans got to do their job, but that's a storyline that I think, is out there. I mean, because there's been multiple times you see a team who gets a bye week and they rest their starters in week 17. All of a sudden, they don't quite look like that offense,
And here's the thing with the Titans, right? One of the things that the Titans do have to their advantage, so I'll talk about the Ravens in a sec, but a big part of the Titans game is that they have a runner like Henry. And it's a snowball effect. Once you're up 10 or 13 points with the Titans, they're just going to use Derrick Henry as Thor's hammer and just beat when Henry gets running downhill and runs to his full potential, you saw what he could do. Like, again, what the Patriots couldn't stop him. They could not tackle him. He's a battering ram when he gets running downhill like that. It takes 3 guys to tackle him. That touchdown that he scored against the Pats, he drug 3 Patriot tacklers into the end zone with him. Like 2 of them were on his back.
He's like 6'3", 6'4", 230. Like that. There's not a
he's
whole lot of people.
He's LeGarrette Blount 2.0. The guy's an animal.
Yeah, fat and much faster. Because that's another thing. Like people don't realize he gets to the second level, he's gone. Like he's not Chris Johnson speed. Like okay, let's go to Madden. Chris Johnson was a 99 speed. Like okay, Derrick Henry's like a 94.
He's an 89 or he's a 90 easy. 89 or 90 easy.
He's actually, I think he's a 90 on the Madden game, and in my opinion, he should be a 94 because the dude can outright, like he's a gazelle when he gets in open field. He can go. So, and the Ravens are out there. They're talking their crap. Earl Thomas has already came out, and multiple Ravens players have said, well, the Patriots did not want any business tackling Derrick Henry. He said that's not going to be the case for the Baltimore Ravens. We look forward to tackling Derrick Henry. Well, you say that now, but let's see if they're saying that in the fourth quarter.
Vrabel's going to take that. And you know what he's going to do? He's going to print that out and give it to Henry and give it to the team and be like, look, we that's one thing. I haven't heard anything from the Titans side, but I've heard a lot of this from Baltimore.
Yep. I mean, that's key. I mean,
you haven't heard one word.
Vrabel's and who else does that? The Patriots.
Yeah.
They never would talk.
Vrabel has taught those guys to do your talking on, let your play do all the trash talking you need to.
Yeah, that's where you win. That's where you win a game is on the field. You never win it on a keyboard or on a little Twitter message. And you know, Vrabel is definitely going to use that. And you hit on it just a minute ago. You was talking about the banners and not looking at the banners. Earlier in that week, Mike Vrabel showed a movie to the Tennessee Titans. I forget what movie it was called, but it was talking about like a movie of taking down a champion, taking down this. And his reference to the team after the movie was like, when you go into New England, you go into Foxborough, don't be looking at those banners. Those banners don't matter. The banners are nice, but at the end of the day, the banners are in the past. They don't have a banner for this year. You get all past that and you play a football game. And so he's on to that stuff, and he's really good at picking out the details and motivating the players. And the Ravens are giving the Titans a lot to be motivated about. And at the end of the day, just like the Vikings and 49ers, the Titans have no pressure. If the Titans lose this game, guess what? It's been a successful season. The Titans were 2-4 at week 6, and now they're in the divisional round. And the Ravens have been the best team in the NFL. They can't lose this game.
You know what they say about teams that play with nothing to lose? Those are the most dangerous teams out there.
Absolutely.
Those teams that play with nothing to lose are the most dangerous teams that you can play, because every game they treat it like it's their last. Every game.
The other Coach K says Eddie George hype video. Oh my God. Oh yeah, he got my blood boiling at work today. Butcher, after the stream, I'm going to send you that video because Eddie George will just get you going. But and also the Tennessee Titans are doing one thing right when it comes to playing football. Like all these high power offenses, passing and all that stuff, like they're great. But when it comes to winning football games in the playoffs, early January and going to the Super Bowl, there's 2 ingredients to really getting you there. It's a run game and defense. And that's the Titans. Now, while yes, it's the Ravens too, this game might be over in an hour because I think both teams are just going to try to run the ball over and over again. But it's a little bit of strength for strength. But the Tennessee Titans, Coach K said it earlier when I was talking about the Ravens have been off 3 weeks. The Titans have been playoff games for 4 to 5 weeks. So they're in it. They've been in it. The Ravens have been on the couch.
And you know what it is too? It's battle testing. That was a smash mouth game that you guys had to go in. You guys have been tested ever since week 16. You guys have been tested, and it's just been one test after another, and you successfully move on, and you move on and you stay in that mindset. Your mind stays sharp. You stay in that mindset. So now this is just like another game for you guys. It's another game, another prep. it's more of the norm.
Yeah, and even going back to when the Titans were 2-4, that's like the most adversity you could find. Like you lose 1 to 2 more games, you're already thinking about the draft. You're already scheduling your vacation plans as players. Like the Titans were dead to right. No one cared about them at 2-4, and they found a way to overcome that adversity and persevere. Like the Ravens are a great football team. There's no doubt about it. But like you said, they really haven't been tested for but maybe 2 games. And those 2 games haven't came in the last 3 weeks. So, get them to the fourth quarter and let's put a little bit of pressure on the Ravens and let's let the chips fall where they may.
Yeah, no, it's and then so real quick on the Ravens side, Harbaugh has done an amazing job catering that offense to Mark Ingram and Lamar Jackson.
I love the offense.
Ingram to me is one of the biggest assets they have. Ingram and I believe they have Ingram and I want to say.
Have you heard the reports about Mark Ingram too?
Gus, and I've heard some stuff. What's his name? Gus. I forget the other running back they have there.
Yeah, maybe Gus Bradley or Gus, not Gus Bradley.
I forget his name.
Maybe. I don't know.
The 2 running backs that Baltimore has, Harbaugh has done a really, really good job at catering that offense to the strengths. He's not shied away from saying, Lamar, if you don't find anybody open and you see a lane, take off, but he urges. One thing he has done is he's brought in, the quarterbacks coaches have been working with Lamar, and he definitely has, he's definitely improved as a thrower from last year to this year. He's only about a 56, 58%, percentage, passer, but that's it, to go from like a 52 up to a 56 in 1 year, that's a pretty good jump. For 1 year, for one off season of working, that's a pretty good jump. And it's and once again, it's 2 good coaches. Harbaugh's not afraid of the Titans, and Vrabel's not afraid of Harbaugh. And you know what I'm gonna like best about this game? Old school football, smash mouth, hard nosed, trench warfare. It's basically gonna say we're gonna run the ball. We're gonna hit you in the mouth until you stop us.
Oh, I'm excited for it. I mean, it's Titans versus Ravens football. The other Coach K comes back with us as Gus Edwards. He's
Gus Edwards. Yeah. He's also a good runner too. So it's gonna be a good game. It's gonna be a very good game.
Yeah.
It will be.
So the reports about Mark Ingram is he's had a calf injury. He has yet to practice in 3 weeks.
Oh,
he hasn't even practiced all week. So now they say he's going to go.
He probably pulled it and they don't want to say it.
Now, they say he's going to go, but we're talking about a calf injury, and we're talking about he hasn't had live reps in 3 weeks. All it would take is one cut and that calf not be quite. If he comes out in this game, he helps.
Huge.
He helps Lamar Jackson a lot. I think everybody gives Lamar Jackson all the credit, and that Mark Ingram, benefits from here. They co-benefit from each other.
Ingram was the biggest pickup they had this offseason, in my opinion. Ingram was the biggest pickup they had because it takes so much pressure off of you. Put Ingram, Edwards, and Lamar in the backfield in a pistol. Who's it going to? That's
That's what makes that offense so hard to defend. It puts a lot of pressure on the defense.
You know what that reminds me of, Coach? That scenario, right? You know what that reminds me of? When the Patriots played Pittsburgh and Le'Veon halfway through the game came out with the ankle or knee injury and he couldn't go. Change that game.
It changes the whole the way you call a game, man. So that's another storyline that will be interesting to see there.
Because if you guys can knock Ingram out, that's and you're going to be hitting him. You're going to be hitting him too. So.
Absolutely. At the end of the day, the Titans have to find a way to slow that run game and I think both defenses are going to try to do the same thing. Mm-hmm. They're going to try to slow the run game down and make the quarterbacks beat each other.
One dimension. Yep.
Yeah. And yes, Lamar Jackson has gotten better as a passer. And I might sound like a homer, but I think I'd take Tannehill as a passer over Lamar Jackson. Tannehill, the stats he put up all year, like he could have broke records if he played 16 weeks this year.
Tannehill knows how to work in a pocket.
Yeah.
And strictly as a pocket passer. I don't think Lamar's footwork and his ability to feel the rush coming from the side, from the outside. I just think Tannehill, if the game becomes one-dimensional, Tennessee has the advantage. Tennessee will have the
Absolutely.
advantage.
Now that's going to be easier said than done. I mean, because there's a lot of teams who have not figured out how to slow that run game and contain Lamar Jackson. So it'll be interesting to see. I think you're seeing strength versus strength, and you're going to see basically the same game plan as the same game plan. Now, I absolutely think the Titans are going to try to have a little bit more play action about themselves like they have all year. I think the Patriots DBs really clamp down on the wide receivers, but Baltimore's no slouch on their DBs either. So it's going to be an interesting game to watch. I'm pumped. We're ready. Everybody here, Titan Nation and Nashville's ready. And
I bet the city is so hyped. I bet the city's so hyped.
Here's the thing: Nashville and Tennessee has a incredible fan base. And it's not just football neither; it's hockey too. Like when the Preds went to the Stanley Cup, you couldn't stand in Broadway. And then if you watched the NFL draft, you saw it. You saw, I don't know how many people it was, 500,000. I might even be wrong. It might have been I don't know how many people, but you saw the streets of Nashville where there was no room where you could stand. Like
it looked like Times Square.
Yes, the city of Nashville is they're just waiting to explode. And if they get this win, it's going to be on, man. Like the city of Nashville is going to be bumping.
That city's not sleeping for 2 days.
The bars won't close in Nashville tomorrow night if they win. Like Uber drivers are going to have a lot of money tomorrow night if the Tennessee Titans can pull off this win.
It would be it would be probably the upset of the year. It would probably be the upset of the year if Baltimore falls, because the Saints are gone, the Pats are gone, and now if probably the number two best team in the league, 2 or 3 or 4 best team in the league goes down, that changes the complexion of the whole league. It's wide open at that point. It's anybody's game.
Absolutely. If we beat the Ravens, I think, honestly, the top 3 teams are out with the Patriots, Ravens, and the Saints.
Yep.
And it would just be insane that the Titans would take out both of them. So, I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see, man, for sure. I'm pumped. I'm so pumped.
The Titans Iron Man making its debut tomorrow night. Stay tuned for that one.
Yeah. All right. There we go. I had to pull it out. Man, it just.
All right. So Sunday, the early game on Sunday, Coach. Houston on the road going into Kansas City. And those two teams played each other earlier on, and it was a good game as well.
No, I might have to elaborate on that. I feel like for some reason, for the life of me, I can't remember them two playing.
I believe they played each other earlier on in the year.
They probably did. I don't think I watched that game at all, or especially early on the year. I lose track with games, me being a football coach.
The one, yeah, I heard it. It's probably just all meshes into one.
Yeah, because we got practice on Sundays, man. It gets tough for the coach plays during football season.
So Houston's been an interesting team to kind of follow and watch through this year. When they're on, they're so good in all 3 phases of the game: offense, defense, and special teams. When they're on, when they're off, they're bad. They're real. Deshaun Watson's throwing into triple coverage. DeAndre Hopkins is dropping balls for, touchdowns and key first. It's all bad.
Absolutely.
Mike D comes in here and says, Watson going to have a disastrous game. Kansas City's going to take the win easy. I could see that. I could totally see that happening. it's they've, like I said, they've been a tough team, and I really like. I know Billy O'Brien's a coach, off the Belichick tree, but some of them just don't work out, and they just like I don't trust Billy O'Brien
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like
to go
my
into that, to go into Kansas City, into Arrowhead, that type of an environment with that big a game. As much as I don't want to say it, because Andy Reid and the Chiefs,
yeah, no, I mean,
I'm gonna
my
have to,
apology.
yeah, I'm gonna have to pick Kansas City in that one. I think that Kansas City has too many offensive weapons, and I don't. There's mismatches all over the field for Kansas City to take advantage of, whether it's Travis Kelsey on the seam routes, Travis Kelsey on a linebacker, or a cornerback, like not even like a starting corner. It's you're talking they'll probably put a slot corner on him, or a safety. That's a mismatch there, and even so, you try and go small with the corners or safeties for the speed,
Yeah, no,
right?
yeah,
Or you put in which he's going to just go. They'll just throw the ball over the top, and have him catch it over the top, or the Texans linebackers are nowhere near fast enough to keep up with it. They're nowhere near fast enough to handle him. So that's a huge mismatch there. And then you're going to have to double Tyreek Hill the whole game
which ain't easy.
yeah, you're going to have, even doubling him is not easy, because he's so fast. So you're already dedicating two guys to Hill. I just think there's too many going down the line talent wise. There's just too many mismatches when it comes to Kansas City versus the Texans D. Offenses, I think, if
If you're getting a good Watson,
if you're no, so defenses, I think it's going to be a wash, because I think their D's are pretty similar to one another. If you get a good Deshaun Watson and the Texans are on, that's going to be a 3 to 7 point game. If Kansas City is able to jump out, and really take control early, that it's not even going to be close. But I just think there's more mismatches in that go in the Chiefs' favor on mostly offense. I would think mostly offensive wise, Kansas City's going to take that one, and that's kind of what they've relied on all year is they beat teams 37-24. That's how they've played all year. As long as their defense can hold a team to 20 or 24 points, they've scored 30 points pretty much the entirety of the year. So, it's their defense isn't spectacular, but it's just enough to I think it's just enough to get the job done.
Yeah, I agree with a lot of the points you make, and I agree with what Mike said a lot. Like, when I look at this game, I think it has a potential of being a shootout. I think there's not going to be a whole lot of defense played in this game. The Chiefs have a lot of talent on offense, but it's clear their one weakness is their defense. Like, they just give up a lot of points, they give up a lot of yards, but when I look at Houston, and let's just talk about Houston for a little bit. I think Deshaun Watson is a great quarterback who can come up really small in a lot of moments. Like, yes, when he's on and he's great, I mean, he's a potential top 5 quarterback in the league. But he was very invisible against the Bills. Like, the Bills shut him down. And then the Bills had their opportunities up 16-0 to step on the throat of Houston, and they didn't. The Bills could have came away with that game. Like, the Bills could have won that game maybe 24-0 if they stepped on their throats, but they didn't. They allowed, and then if the ball gets rolling for Houston, they can go. So,
Yep.
and then of course, just Deshaun Watson on the edge. Not Deshaun Watson, Hopkins. Hopkins on the edge is almost unguardable. I mean, you're going to see great wide receiver game with Hopkins and Tyreek Hill. But when I look at this game, the Texans' pass defense is one of the worst in the league. I think Mahomes and
Feast,
uh,
absolute feast on that.
yes, I think Tyreek Hill. I think Sammy Watkins. I think his name's left me. The tight end, Kelsey.
That's who I think is gonna beat this defense up because they're gonna use Hopkins and Watkins to clear it out, and I just think they're gonna use that mismatch that Kelsey has all game. They're gonna use that
Yeah,
mismatch all game long, even if they gotta use like. And I think Andy Reid's gonna be perfectly fine with Watkins and Tyreek Hill playing decoy. Go ahead, chase them. Go ahead, guys, chase them all you want. You know,
yeah.
double them up all you want.
And then I don't even know if Fuller. I haven't heard the reports. He might play, but I don't think he's 100% healthy. That hurts the Texans. And then the Chiefs have a better run game as well. Other than the Texans, like the Texans' run game is average. I think when Damian Williams gets going for the Chiefs, they then all of a sudden they become very, very balanced, and I think they can be a lot more balanced than the Houston Texans. Uh, nah, Karen, I am not picking the Texans to win this game. And now, listen, I might disagree with you on this, Karen. I think the Chiefs are very leaky on defense. I think they struggle on defense, and
Yep.
and I mean they can lose games like that. And I think this game has a chance to be high scoring. But ultimately, I think the pass coverage for the Houston Texans is a liability. And I think Mahomes is going to exploit that. And now, I mean, it's still, if the Texans can find a way to get a couple turnovers, J.J. Watt, Whitney Merciless, find a way to get a little bit of pass rush, maybe. But I just look at this game and honestly, as a Tennessee Titans fans, if we beat the Ravens, I think I lean towards I would much rather go to Houston than I would in Kansas City.
Yeah,
And
because
I just
you guys match up much better with the Texans than you do
I agree. And that's even saying, with the Titans beating Kansas City this year.
yeah.
But I think it would be extremely hard to beat Kansas City twice and beating Andy Reid twice. And
Mhm.
and also you talk about the coaches. I give more props to Andy Reid than I do um, the Texans head coach. His
Billy
name is
O'Brien. Billy O'Brien. I don't
yeah.
trust him at all. Nope.
Yeah. And I trust Andy Reid. Andy Reid is a great football mind. So when you put the box up there, when you put the sheet and you're talking about check here, check
Mhm.
there, I think you start adding up more checks for the Chiefs than you do the Houston Texans. And we haven't even said it. The Texans have to go to Kansas City, which is an extremely hard place to
Yeah,
play this time
Arrowhead.
of year.
Arrowhead's one of the hardest places to win out. It's one of the hardest stadiums to play in.
Absolutely. So when I look at this one, honestly, there's a chance that this one could be the most boring game of the weekend. If
Mhm.
the Texans come out and play like they did against Buffalo, which may I remind you, they did that at home. Like they came out flat in Houston. If they come out flat in Kansas City, you might just wrap it up and Kansas City might win this game 42-21. I could
Yeah.
see it.
If put it this way, if Kansas City can lock up, if they can somehow manage to limit Hopkins to, let's say, 6 catches to 70 yards, 70, 75 yards, maybe 80 yards, and no touchdown, they'll
The Texans are in trouble.
yeah, that's what I mean.
Who
I
else
don't
does the
think the rest
offense
of
got to
the
go
I don't
to?
think the rest of the team is good enough. I don't think the rest of the core is good enough. If you shut Hopkins down completely, I just
Yeah.
I don't think they have enough to beat them.
I agree, and let's go vice versa with that. Let's say the Texans shut down Tyreek Hill and he gets 6 catches for 60 yards. Who's going to beat him? Well, okay, Sammy Watkins is playing good ball. Uh, Kelsey's playing good ball. Damian Williams play. They have other weapons that can beat him. So absolutely, I think if they find a way to shut down Hopkins, then their probability of winning the game goes way up. And if you're a Texans fan and you find a way to shut down Tyreek Hill, well, they've got a lot more other weapons you got to worry about. So, and it will be very important for a Fuller to play in this game 100% healthy. I don't know if he is. If he does, then that helps out the Texans quite a bit more. And you also got Kenny Stills over there. So they've got bodies. We're not
Yeah,
saying they don't have bodies. I just think there's a few more check boxes when we're talking about the Kansas City Chiefs than the Houston Texans. And it could be a close game. If it's a close game, I think it's 42-38 or 45-42. But I just have this vision in my mind, the Kansas City Chiefs 42, Houston Texans 21, something like that. It'll be interesting to see. And I also have no clue what the weather is looking like in Kansas City neither.
Yeah, I'm gonna take the Chiefs. I'll take the Chiefs. I like you said, I just think there's when you start adding it up, when you start adding, the check marks up, like you were saying, I think they go in the Chiefs, uh, call. I think they're just gonna have more at the end of it. Yeah, I'm a Patriot fan, you idiot. So I have no bias in this.
Butcher is calling it right down the line, calling it
Please,
exactly like he sees it.
If you're gonna troll, at least entertain me before I ban you from the channel. At least do that before you get squashed. That would be excellent.
Yeah. Hey, maybe Paul Ball can rebound right here, bounce back, and we can have a lot of great conversation. Paul, we enjoy we enjoy having you in the stream. But absolutely, Butcher Block is not a Chiefs fan. And as far as talking about this game,
or a Texans fan.
Yeah, as far as talking about this game, we're either one of the fans. Like, I'm a Tennessee Titans fan, so we're calling it down the line. And I mean, I just think the Chiefs have more checks than the Houston Texans. So it'll be interesting to see. We both could be horribly wrong in the Texans. And that's the crazy thing about it. When we said it at the start, when the Texans are on, they can beat anybody.
Yeah.
But I think they've been
play, and I don't trust them. I don't trust them in high pressure situations, and the main reason is because of the coach. I don't trust Billy O'Brien under high pressure playoff situations. His track record has shown me that he can't do it.
Well, I'll say this: if the Texans get upset by the Bills in the wild card, I think you start hearing fans start calling out Bill O'Brien's name, because at the end of the day, what has he won? I don't even think the Texans. I mean, I'm about 99% sure on this. The Texans haven't been to an AFC championship game under him. They've had a heck of a lot of talent. So what has he won? And if they found a way to choke that one away, which, I could rant for a minute and talk about the horrible call to start the second half of that football game, which ultimately, while yes, the Bills could have finished them off later on, if they don't call that touchdown back that the Bills got at the start of the second half, because 100% the kick returner for the Texans did not give a fair catch call or take a knee. He just dropped the ball in the end zone. The Bills should have had that touchdown, and the Bills would have won that game. If the Bills win that game,
that was
Bill O'Brien is on the hot seat.
That was a horrible call. I was like,
horrible.
The refs looking at him, and he said, "Don't throw me the ball." He mouthed it to him. He said he mouthed it to the guy and said, "Do not throw me the ball." And the guy just tossed it. That should have been a Bills touchdown.
That's the head referee too. Yeah, that's the head referee.
Yeah.
And he had other refs coming off the sidelines telling him, and they got a call from New York. They got a call from New York.
Yep.
They got a call from New York saying, "Look, we know this is the rule, but man, we cannot have a game come down to this." Because they're thinking about that no call they had in Seattle or New Orleans last year, when at the end of the day, they made it way worse on them. And I give kudos to like NFL Live.
They should have made that call. Buffalo should have won that game, because that would have.
And now, yes, Buffalo
up like 20. Wouldn't it have put them up like
20-0?
Yeah, 20-0.
And dead. Texans are dead. Now, yes, the Bills eventually went up 16-0. They should have finished that game off. Bills, you still choked that one away. Yeah. But that was a horrible call. It's the worst call I've seen all year. It's the worst call since the no call pass interference in New Orleans last year.
Paul made a good point too. He says the Bills shouldn't have choked that away either.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And look at Paul coming back strong in the chat.
That's true.
Paul coming back strong in the chat. But yeah, no, absolutely. The Bills were still found themselves up 16-0 in that game, and typical Buffalo Bills finding a way to choke it away. I feel so sorry for Bills fans. Like, they might need to think about jumping on another ship or something.
Yeah, it's they're so close. So just real, Ryan Allen's not the answer. He's not. They need it. They need a quarterback. The Bills need a quarterback.
Oh, that might be the most in disagreement I am with Butcher Block ever. I think, and his name's it's not Ryan Allen. It's
No, not
something
Ryan Allen. It's Josh Allen. Josh Allen.
Josh Allen. I think the dude has a chance to be a good quarterback in this league. He's just got to protect the football. Like sometimes I swear he loses all his brains and he goes a little nuts and he has a little Brett Favre in him and he just starts throwing the ball around.
He makes really bad decisions. Really bad decisions.
He does, but also when I look at that offense, I think he's the only thing they got. Like they don't really they don't have a whole lot of playmakers that scare you. Even I think the running back's name's Singletary. He's good, but he doesn't scare you. I think if you put Josh Allen on some of these other teams,
he doesn't have a lot of help on the offensive line either.
No, that's the thing.
Their O-line is really weak. Really
that's
weak.
The thing. When you really evaluate that Bills offense, I think he runs around like a chicken with his head cut off, and sometimes he makes plays. Yeah, sometimes he makes plays, sometimes he don't. I think you put Josh Allen on the Minnesota Vikings, and they're better. And I like Kirk Cousins, but I think Josh Allen is better.
No, Paul.
Now
right,
they might not.
He says Josh Allen is a good quarterback, but he has to stop. He has to stop lateraling. So
yeah.
Just the ball.
I wouldn't even call it a laddering the ball, Paul. I think he just chucks it sometime. He's like, oh, get rid of this. Let's chuck it over here. I don't know what he does at times.
So we're both in agreement. The Texans, right? I mean, the Titans. The
Chiefs.
Slow it down there, buddy.
Yeah.
Slow it down there, Butcher Block. Yeah, the Chiefs. In that one.
Yeah, no, I mean, we got on the Bills topic because of me. I was just saying, if the Texans lose to the Bills, I think Bill O'Brien's seat is hot. So,
I'm surprised he's still. I thought for sure last offseason he was going to get fired. I thought he was out of there. He was going to be out of there last offseason.
And didn't they give him an extension also?
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I mean, and that's just what the Texans can do.
There's nobody out there that's bet. You have to wait for somebody that can take his place. There's nobody really.
Well, they had someone, and here's the thing that Texans fans might be a little. If the Titans keep having success, they had Mike Vrabel on their coaching staff. They could have made that decision.
That decision to get
So if he goes on and has great success with the Titans. Now, and that I don't know if a whole lot of people know that, but the Titans
he was on the Vrabel coach
on the Houston Texans
for the Texans.
Yeah, he was their linebackers coach, and
can you imagine if he goes and wins the Super Bowl? How mad them Texans fans going to be?
It'd be miserable. So a little bit of background. We won't spend too much time on this. I know we got to hit another game, but the Titans came from Houston because the owner Bud Adams. And Bud Adams was true a Houston native. He loved Houston, but he wanted a new stadium, and Houston said, "We're calling his bluff. He ain't gonna leave. He's a Houston native." And so they said, "No, we're not giving you a new stadium." And he said, "Deuces, I'm gone." And he went to Nashville. Ever since then, and then 3 years later, Houston built a new stadium and got a team right back. Bud Adams hated Houston. When Houston, there's a picture of Bud Adams. You can type it in on Google. Type in Bud Adams flicks off Houston. Houston Texans came to Titan Stadium one time, and Titans got a big win, and Bud Adams is giving them the double bird on the way out. Here's the thing. If Mike Vrabel comes over to the Titans and they win a Super Bowl, Bud Adams from the heavens will be giving the Texans more birds and just saying, "I stick it to you again, Houston." So, it's incredible, man.
I just like Vrabel's style. He's a no BS guy. They you know what Vrabel's done better than Billy O'Brien has and better than Matt Patricia has?
What's that?
He's got that whole team to buy into. Nobody is bigger than the team. You play as one unit the whole game for 60 minutes. You don't bark, you don't talk, it's
and they love playing
Patriot way. It's as Patriot way as you can get. and they all bought into it. They all bought into it.
Yeah, and they play like they love to play for the guy. Like I always said this as a coach, I was never going to be a point the finger type of dude. I'm always going to be there for my players. Like I'm always going to be the type of coach that I'm not going to ask you to do something that I wouldn't do if it was me in your shoes. Like if you're working retail and you got a manager say, "Hey, do this, do that," point that finger. Or if you got a manager that says, "Hey, we need to get this done. Let me help you. Help me and let's get this done as together." You play for those type of people. And go back to the offseason, Mike Vrabel is doing like linebacker drills with the team. He's got the pads on his chest. He's got players hitting them. He's got players pushing them down to the ground. Like players all of a sudden start to buy into that. And they also know he was a player. He gets it. Like you can tell when the Titans play, I think they're playing hard for him. Now let's go to the Houston Texans. I don't know if the Texans play hard for O'Brien. Like I think there's a little bit of a discord there. So I think all those things could really rear its ugly head as far as when we're talking about the Chiefs versus the Texans Sunday. So we'll see.
All right, Paul. We'll see you later, man. Good luck to your Texans. Gonna be a good game. Good luck, man.
Yeah, take it easy, Paul. Appreciate you joining the stream and nice little comeback you had there. It started out a little rocky, but we're good now.
Mike D. I just the Lions to me like Patricia. So real quick on Patricia, I just think the Lions are. I just think that organization like they're just struggling to just make ends meet over there. That's at least that's what it looks like from the outside looking in.
Yeah, as far as my opinion, you might like my opinion. From the outside looking in, I actually watched. Don't ask me why, but I think I watched like 4, 5, 6 Lions games this year, and I kept up with them a little bit. I think the Lions have a pretty decent team. I thought they played hard all year, and I thought they came up short in a lot of games. Like,
They lose a lot of games by like single digit numbers.
Yeah, I think so. I think the Lions are a team. I don't know their record. It's probably like 3-13, 4-12, something like that. I think the Lions are one of those teams that could go from like 3-13 to 8-8 next year. Like they could jump. Like I don't think Patricia is that bad of a football coach there. Now, I think when you hear some Lions fans talk, I don't know if they like their general manager. I don't know if they like their front office, things like that. And yes, those are things I don't know about, and those are things that can derail a team. But I saw a team that plays hard for them. Now, I don't know. You're starting to hear rumors about Matthew Stafford. I feel like I hear rumors about him leaving every single year. If he leaves, then who knows? But I thought, well, yes, it was another bad year for the Lions. I don't think that team looked like a 3-13 team. Like,
no, they didn't play like it. They played hard. I just think they have trouble playing for a full 60 minutes in all 3 phases. But that's definitely fixable. You know what I mean? It's definitely
they got to hit on their draft picks. That's what they got to do.
It's definitely a fixable thing. It's definitely a fixable thing.
Absolutely. So, yeah, it might seem bad right now, but I think there's some building blocks there for the Texans. I think they need to take advantage of their draft picks. I think they need to find a couple people from free agency that can help them out, and I think it could be interesting. I think they need to keep Matthew Stafford. I think he might be one of the most underrated quarterbacks in the NFL. Like, if Matthew Stafford and that's another thing, like, you look at the Lions, and while they're a good team, I don't think they have a whole lot of weapons that scare you. Like, they need to give him more weapons. And I feel like if you had a Matthew Stafford on another team, you put Matthew Stafford on the Texans, I think DeAndre Hopkins just eats every single game. Or, give him a legit, just like when he had Megatron.
Matt Stafford can throw the deep ball really accurate. Give him it's that would be like.
So they just need more weapons, man.
Alrighty, Coach. Final game of the weekend. Good, pretty good game. Seattle traveling to Green Bay.
What time is that game?
That is the 6:40 game on Sunday.
Good chance the coach plays is live streaming that game as well. I think that's going to be a good game.
No, that's going to be a good one. Aaron Rodgers this year is playing like a man on a mission. He is he's. I mean, I hate to say it, he's got a hair across his butt. For like he's playing like a man on a mission. It's he is take no prisoners, and he's on a Rogers is on a mission this year. Even if he's got to will his team into the NFC title game, he's playing like he's on a mission. The one area where I think you can expose the Green Bay Packers is that defense.
Yeah, yeah.
That that defense can absolutely no way around it. They can be exposed.
Yeah, I think that's been the story for the Packers past few years. Is they just I don't know, they haven't had that great of a defense, and they put a whole lot on Rodgers to just carry the team. And I had doubts about the Packers going into this year. They hired Matt LaFleur as a head coach, former Tennessee Titans offensive coordinator last year, and
Mm-hmm.
I didn't really see a whole lot like crazy great things about Matt LaFleur last year with the Titans offense. Now it 100% looks now that it was Mariota holding the team back, because the Titans go to Tannehill and the Titans are more successful. Matt LaFleur goes to the Packers, and of course you got a guy like Aaron Rodgers, and there goes your offense. It's off. So,
Mm-hmm.
and here's the thing: I have to be very unbiased when it comes to this, because I just do not like Aaron Rodgers. I give him all the respect.
I think he's cringeworthy.
Yes, I give him all the respect in the world, but I think he's got a piss poor attitude.
As a person, he is absolutely cringeworthy.
Yeah, so I've heard a lot of stories. Like, I'm in Nashville, and Jordan Rodgers, his brother, went to Vanderbilt. And so Nashville has a little bit of media with the Rodgers, all that stuff.
Mm.
And the huge talks are that, like, Aaron Rodgers doesn't talk to Jordan Rodgers or that whole side of the family. Like, he doesn't talk to his families. Like, they say that, like, he's just a dick. And, I don't know if I can use that word on YouTube.
Go
but,
for it. Yeah, you can.
he's just you can even see the way he plays a game. He just looks like he's not a dude I would like to be around.
Like he's a pompous ass. It's bad.
Yeah, but then all that aside, he's one of the best quarterbacks probably to ever play the game. Like, he can throw the ball anywhere. He has one of the biggest arms ever, and he's not a statue. He can just go and move anywhere. His mobility is so underrated. So I have to kind of take my bias out. I have to take my I hate Aaron Rodgers goggles off and just call this one like I see it. Like, the Packers can play, man, and they got weapons. Devontae Adams, they got a pretty good running game with is his name Matt, or is it Jones?
Aaron. So Mike D in the chat said this. He made a really good point. I agree with him.
Aaron Jones.
He says, I think this game is more about Aaron Jones than it is about Aaron Rodgers. I would agree.
Yeah. AKA the porn
porn stash. It is. It's like a 1970s Ron Jeremy stash.
Now he did crack me up. There was one time, it was like Halloween this year. He dressed up like the guy from Napoleon Dynamite with the mustache.
Pedro, right?
It was perfect. It was perfect. But yeah, I mean, if Jones is running the ball well, then the Packers get incredibly tough to beat, because now you're talking about you got a running game and you got Aaron Rodgers passing. So yeah, but now also there's a whole nother side to this game, and it's the Seattle Seahawks, and I have to take my goggles off there too, because I absolutely hate Pete Carroll, and I love Russell Wilson. Like, I love Russell Wilson as a person, and I love him as a yes, like, the dude is great. And then I think Pete Carroll is a scum. I think
Pete Carroll, believe me, he coached. I don't know how you can go from being so crappy as a coach for the Pats, and then go to the Seahawks and have all the success that he had. I think Carroll is a buffoon.
Yeah, and then what he did to the USC.
You had Marshawn Lynch with first.
Oh God!
And I would have given it to him all 4 times. You're telling me that Marshawn at that time, beast mode Lynch, couldn't get 2 yards with 4 tries. I would have, even if it was 4th and goal, I'd have given him the ball.
Let me move this mic up real close for everybody to hear me. Breaking news alert. He would have got 2 yards with 1 carry. All you had to do was hand it to Marshawn Lynch one more time, and the Seahawks win that Super. People talk about it's the worst call in Super Bowl history. Another breaking news: it's the worst call in football history. It was terrible. It was terrible.
Pete Carroll was so bad with the Pats, and then he went to college, and he was a really good coach there.
And that's also one of the things I don't like. He totally screwed USC.
And then he went to Seattle, and he's been a pretty good coach there. But I just think he's a buffoon. He's just a buffoon.
Well, yeah, and like say he left USC with all those sanctions and just how he ran that program down to the ground, and USC hasn't been the same since. And he's seen the writing on the wall. He knew sanctions were about to come down, and he dipped out for the NFL. Mm-hmm. And yeah, he has been a good coach. Seattle has been. They wasn't really a franchise before he got there. No one cared about Seahawks, and he got there and he changed the culture and they've been able to sustain a lot of success, even post the Marshawn Lynch era. Like Russell Wilson came in there, and Russell Wilson for a minute,
but here's the thing.
Everybody said,
has his dynasties in college and in the pros, or has his good teams, have they been because of his coaching or because of the talent surrounding him?
Well, that's the thing. I don't know who their GM is.
Talent surrounding him over the coach.
I don't know who the GM is there, but he has constantly made a really good team for the Seahawks. They always have studs. They always seem to reload, and even in their down year where the Legion of Boom left, seemed like they had one down year and they're back, and they got great defensive players. So no, there's a lot something to be said there. And without a Russell Wilson, here's the thing. They signed, I think the quarterback name was Matt Flynn, expecting him to be the starter. And then they took Russell Wilson in the second, third, or fourth round. And then Russell Wilson came in as a rookie and Matt Flynn didn't start one game. And Russell Wilson takes them to the places they need to be. So I'm really high on Russell Wilson. Everybody thinks Lamar Jackson should win the MVP, and he probably will, and he'll be deserving of it. But so is Russell Wilson.
Was a close second.
Yes, absolutely. And I think this game's going to be interesting. I could see the Seahawks beat the Packers. I could.
The Seahawks went into the 49ers house and beat the Niners. They can absolutely beat the Packers. Absolutely. That team can absolutely beat the Packers. One piece of, I will give Pete Carroll credit for this. He might have been right about DK Metcalf because he is playing out of his mind right now.
No, absolutely. I thought DK Metcalf slid way too low in the draft. Now, you look at it, the Titans have another really good Ole Miss wide receiver in A.J. Brown. Those are two stud receivers from Ole Miss that came out in this year's draft. A.J. Brown and DK Metcalf were both on the Ole Miss Rebels roster last year. But, yeah, absolutely. DK Metcalf, he's going to be a force to be reckoned with, and especially you pair him up to Russell Wilson. Now it frees up someone like a Tyler Lockett to be what he needs to be. Tyler Lockett's been a number one for the Seahawks for the past few years. He shouldn't be a number one. He should be a 2 or a 3. He should be that slot guy. And now
that opens up a mismatch for him all the time because he's playing on number 2 and 3 corners, and that's a mismatch every day. Every game that's a mismatch.
Absolutely,
for a 2 or a 3.
Absolutely, DK Metcalf has really came in there and has helped out this team. Now, the run game has been inconsistent, and that's, that's troublesome for the Seahawks. I feel like they've had to pass it a little bit more than, in years past. Years past, they've always had a very strong run game. This year, I feel like you don't know what type of run game is going to show up.
that's the one thing that might hurt Seattle is that if Green Bay can make this a one-dimensional game and they're forced to run the football, that's where it's going to get interesting because they don't, you know, their run game is it's up and down, and sometimes it's there, sometimes it's not, and it's just that I think that's how Green Bay should play this game. They should try and make it as one-dimensional as possible.
Yeah, and Mike, I'll have to say one comment. Mike said Matt Flynn is like Bigfoot. Yeah, he just went missing. He was supposed to be the starter for the Seahawks. Next thing you know, he was gone. Uh, uh, Ted says, "Nah, Russell Wilson elevates dude," and he said about DK Metcalf, he's not a good route runner. Now, I do think that's his weakness is route running, but when you run as fast as he does, and you're like 6'6", 6'5", you can overcome a little bit of route running deficiencies, and that's what he does. He just
with
runs by people,
basically catching
or he wins.
in an 8-foot radius of you.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like he might not get open in certain routes, but he catches it because he's high pointing the football better than anybody else can. And then on a 9 route, just a go route, he can outrun you. So like he's still finding ways to make tons of plays, and that's what scares you is because if he does get really good at his route running, look out.
They throw that skinny post to him all the time. You know what I mean? They throw
Mhm.
that skinny post to him with a guy underneath it, to clear it. You know what I mean. So they send him over the top and they run that skinny post and it opens it up for for DK to do what DK does, and that's just like you said,
Yeah, because
it just catch footballs over the DBs because he's got 3 inches, 4 inches. He's got 4 inches on him. You know what I mean? So
yeah, absolutely. Because those skinny posts can really split a cover three, and if he gets in between the deep safety and the third safety,
it's over.
and that's the thing, Russell Wilson, like for as good as a deep ball thrower Aaron Rodgers is, Russell Wilson is if not there, if not better. Like Russell Wilson's deep ball is pretty.
Yeah, no, this game, this is going to be another good one. I am going to take um I think the Seahawks, they've been battle tested. They have the attitude. They have that mentality. They have that mentality. I think they have like I think they could absolutely go to Green Bay and win that game. Um, they're like I said, they already went into a hostile environment in having to go to San Francisco and beat a team like the Niners when they were white hot during the regular season. And I called that game. I said, you watch, Seattle's going to fly down there and they're going to punch that team in the mouth and they're going to beat the Niners because
Yeah,
the one thing Pete Carroll does real well with his guys is once again he doesn't buy like he's got them laser focused. Like that's I'll give him credit on that. He knows how to coach his guys, and he knows
mhm.
what works, and they play for him. His guys play for him, and they
No,
play.
they absolutely do play for him. They absolutely do play for them, and I don't know, man. I think about this game, and I think this is the most up in the air game of the weekend. Like I don't know how I want to pick this game. To be honest, I just don't have a feel for it.
I I think Seattle. I think Seattle like you're gonna have to stop. You're gonna have to limit um Devontae Adams. I think Seattle has the personnel to do that. I think they can slow him down just enough. And Seattle gang tackles pretty good. Their run defense when I think I have more faith in Seattle than I do in the Packers because I really think that Packer D can Seattle can exploit that defense and Russ can exploit that D. Um,
Yeah, Ted says, he's talking about the Packers being at home. That's big. The other Coach K, Clee, appreciate you being in here, big guy. Clee brings it, guys. The other Coach K is a heck of a supporter. He's also a high school football coach in the state of Texas, so he's another great football mind. But he says Pete Carroll gets his guys ready to play in big games. I
He does.
agree.
He does.
So here's one point. Pete Carroll has been a coach for a very long time, and then you have the Packers' new head coach. Once again, his mind's Adam LaFleur. Or Matt LaFleur. So of course Pete Carroll wins that battle. You're
Yep.
gonna side with Pete Carroll over Matt LaFleur just based on experience alone. Does Aaron Rodgers trump that?
That's tough. That's real tough.
I think he does. Like
I,
that's the thing. If he's
Rodgers,
on his game
Rodgers
at
and
home,
LaFleur got off to a pretty rough start the first couple of games, but once they like got on the same page, you saw it. Once they got on the same page, that offense for the Packers has been pretty lethal. It's been
yeah.
pretty lethal.
Here's the thing. I thought Seattle really did not look good against an Eagles team that was led with McCown. But then I also thought the Packers looked like trash against a Detroit Lions team a
Against,
couple
I was
weeks
just going to
ago.
say that the Lions almost beat them. The
Yes.
Lions give them a
And
run for their money.
and didn't the Packers had something to play for that game? They played all their starters. I think it was seeding involved. I think, and yeah, they ultimately got to a second seed because someone else lost, right?
Yep,
The
yep. The
Saints.
Saints lost. Yeah, yep.
Yeah, so they had a lot to play for against Detroit, and they won that game, I believe, in overtime. So both teams, I don't think, are playing their best ball right now.
I just
And
think you can expose, yeah, like you can definitely expose both of those teams in certain ways.
I totally agree. You can expose both of them. What does this? I still don't know how to pick it. What does this game come down to?
I think if you can if Seattle can limit I think if you take away the run game from Aaron Rodgers, I think that Seattle D, the secondary there is good enough to hold up just enough though. So I think they have to focus on keeping um I think they have to focus on stopping Aaron Jones. I think Seattle should focus on the run game. That's how I would play it. And I would go with, you know, trying to stop the run and I would put a number 2 and with safety help all game on Devontae Adams and throw my number 1 and throw whoever I had it I would throw that number 1. I forget the guy. His name is beyond me right now. I would throw him on the slot receiver there.
Yeah.
That's how I would play it. So I would play Seattle. In my opinion, the Hawks should take the runaway, and try and limit Devontae Adams.
So I look because I was interested. I wanted to see what the spread was for this game. Normally, you give a team 3 points. A lot of times, if you're home,
Yep.
they have this spread at 4, so they're close to that spread. I think they're giving the Packers an extra point.
So they're basically saying it's a pick 'em, and they're giving the Packers for the home game the extra point.
Yeah, I think so. And when I think about this game, I go back and forth. I think it's going to be a battle between the quarterbacks, and I really like Russell Wilson. I think he's a great quarterback, and I hate Aaron Rodgers, but I think he's a great quarterback. And I think my gut is just telling me it could be a game like 24-21 Green Bay Packers. I think I really don't know, but it's not going to shock me either way who wins this game. But when I think about it, I don't know. I almost talk myself out of everything when I think about these two. I was about to say the Seattle
It's
Seahawks
real
have been
close.
so inconsistent this year at times, but
It's
so have the
real
Green Bay
close.
Packers. So this one's going to be an interesting game. Like I say, I think I plan on doing a live watch along of this one because it's going to be interesting to see. And I mean, it's going to be probably come down to which defense can stop the opposing quarterback the most.
So here's this is interesting, right? Let's say hypothetically Minnesota and Green Bay win, you could get a NFC title game of Vikings versus Packers.
And it'd be a good one.
That would be a good game.
It would. It absolutely would. The other Coach K says 0-3 NFC wild card. OT Matt Hasselback wins the toss and says, "We want the ball and we are going to score." Throws a pick. Packers win. Goodness gracious, I remember that one.
Yeah, man. But that's like Coach, we got a lot of good football coming up. A lot of these games are going to be hard fought. They're going to be hard nosed. It's these the rest of the teams left are not going to have an easy road. There is not an easy road ahead for any of these teams coming up. It's they're going to have to scratch and claw their way to the Super Bowl. Who are the teams that are left?
Absolutely. I mean, like say we talked about it earlier in the stream. Multiple teams have any team in this playoff bracket can win the Super Bowl at this point, and it's really good for the NFL that that's the case. And like I say, we got the Vikings and 49ers tomorrow, right?
Yep.
I think we're in for a treat on Saturday. I think those are probably the two best games of this playoff divisional round.
Tennessee,
Are
Baltimore,
those two?
And tomorrow is going to be so you're saying tomorrow's going to be the better games?
I think so. I think so because I also think the Chiefs could run away with a win over Houston, and then this Packers and Seahawks. Who the hell knows? I don't know.
No, I know that's the Sunday's games are going to be they're very evenly matched on either those are going to be tough games to call because they're so close and on every way, offense, defense. Both teams are so close. They're like mirror images of each other.
I totally agree. But I think we're in for 4 good games. It was a crazy stat last week. I think not one game finished under 7 points as far as point differential, and it would be great to have that tomorrow or this weekend. But I think at least one of these games goes for a blowout. The other Coach K says 6-hour stream,
6-hour marathon stream at the Coach.
I'm not doing back-to-back games. I can't do that. I will stream the Titans tomorrow night, and then I will probably stream the Packers and the Seahawks the following night. I cannot. While, yes, I think the 49ers and Vikings game is going to be a heck of a game, I have to save this voice for the Tennessee Titans game. It's all about priorities, and that game has to have the main priority. Mandy from Mandy Golden Goddess fan, appreciate you being in the stream. She said Ryan Tannehill versus Kirk Cousins. That's a Super Bowl I want to see. It'd be incredible. Here's the thing. Ryan Tannehill knocked out Tom Brady. Kirk Cousins knocks out Drew Brees. I don't think a whole lot of people seen that coming.
Now that you let that simmer for a second there, football fans. Ryan Tannehill beats Tom Brady and Kirk Cousins beats Drew Brees. Let that simmer for a second. Just think about that statement.
Parody in the NFL, man.
If somebody had said that to me in week 4, I would have been like, you are out of your mind. You are clearly drunk.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Because, I think a lot of people was writing Kirk Cousins off, and then in week 4, Tannehill was a backup quarterback. So
he should win. Before we sign off here, Tannehill should win Comeback Player of the Year. You want to talk about a guy who turned his career around?
He's about to get paid, and no doubt he should win it.
all those years being on that crappy Miami Dolphins team and surrounded by those mediocre coaches at best, and you get him on, you get him with Vrabel, you get him with a guy with a coach who actually is he can coach these guys up and he's there for the guys, and you surround him with some talent and with
A lot of talent.
with one of Tennessee's best attributes. Their offensive line is playing out of their mind right now. Their O line is playing ridiculous.
Yeah, they were playing really bad at the start of the year, and they have really came on strong late. I think some of that was Mariota holding on to the ball too long, and I don't want to trash Mariota. I was a huge Mariota supporter, but I mean, he wasn't getting the job done. And Tannehill came in here, and he got the ball quick out of his hands. He's really great at play action, and yeah, like Tannehill came from a Miami franchise that always struggled finding a good coach, always constantly turnover on the coaching staff. And then, yeah, there would be some years he had wide receivers, He had yeah, exactly. It seemed like when he had receivers, he had no O-line. And then when they kind of would pick up their O-line, boom, there goes his receivers. They're gone to another team. And he never had a legit running game like the Tennessee Titans do right now. And he is taking advantage of it.
Yeah. What is
Absolutely.
the quarterback's best friend? A good running back.
Absolutely. It opens up the play action pass incredibly well. And Tannehill is a really good downfield thrower. And he's also very mobile with his legs. So the play action pass has been very key for the Titans. While the Patriots really clamped down on that last week, and the Titans really just needed to just keep running the ball. I do think you're going to see that play action pass come into play. It needs to come into play for the Tennessee Titans this week. But yeah, going back to that, like say Tannehill, he's taking advantage of the weapons, and 100%, I think he should win Comeback Player of the Year. I don't know who else it would be. Someone else said it early in the year that maybe Jimmy Garoppolo is the only other candidate, but Jimmy Garoppolo still hasn't put the stats up like a Tannehill has.
The difference between Mariota and Tannehill is night and day. Watch Tannehill in the pocket, right? He drops back. He'll take that 3-step drop. You can see his eyes going from read to read to read to read and then throw. Mariota just looks like deer in the headlights in the pocket.
Yeah.
He has you can physically see Tannehill making the reads. You know what I mean? You can see him making the reads on the field. And it's just night and day. Like Tannehill getting in there, I just think he was a better fit, for the offense. He makes his reads quick, and he gets the ball out. The ball is gone in 2 seconds, 2.5 seconds. It's gone. It's out of there.
Yeah. Tannehill's like a 7 or 8 year pro, and it's starting to show. His tough times in Miami, he has really learned a lot from them, and he's taking advantage of his opportunity now. And I think the game has really slowed down for him. And I think with Mariota, that game has just not quite slowed down for him yet.
Maybe he's just not smart as Tannehill. Maybe just the football IQ just isn't there. Sometimes it's not.
It might not be. And while I think Mariota still has a chance in this league if a team picks him up and kind of adapts a system to his strengths. One of Mariota's weakness coming out of the draft was that he throws to open receivers, but he doesn't throw people open. Like his anticipation of routes coming open wasn't quite there.
He doesn't lead anybody.
Exactly. And you can see it with Tannehill. There's been so many times people are like, our wide receivers aren't getting the separation they need, and Tannehill is putting the ball where it has to be. The Patriots clamped up on the Titans wide receivers, but Tannehill made a couple big throws, and it seemed like every single throw, if it was a little bit behind, it would have been bad.
Listen, the best throw Tannehill made, the two best throws Tannehill made that game, and he made them perfect, were the two throws to the sidelines to the tight end at the end of the game when you guys were finishing off that drive. He made those two tight windowed throws to the tight end coming across the field. He hit that tight end perfect. Couldn't have thrown those balls any better. And they needed to be perfect. They needed to be on the inside shoulder, inside shoulder away from the deep, like perfect throws. Perfect. They those 2 or 3 throws that he made during that second to last or last drive. I think it was the second to last drive, were clutch. They kept that clock moving. They those 2 throws were what won you guys the game. They ate an extra minute and a half off the clock.
Yeah, I mean, those 2 throws, one led to the touchdown and the other one just chewed the clock. I mean, that's the thing. Like, he didn't have to win the game with the way Henry was playing. He just needed to make the big throws when needed, and he did that. And you can just see that with that. As far as him and Mariota just could not throw people open, and Tannehill, he finds ways to throw people open and anticipate routes. So he deserves a lot of credit, man. He definitely does.
Like, I mean, like, why not the Titans? You know what I mean? Why not?
That's exactly what they're probably saying in that locker room. And Derrick Henry actually said it in his press conference and in the post-game interview. He says, "Why not us? Like, seriously, why not?"
If I tell you this, if you guys play, if your defense and offense play the same way you played against us, especially in like the last 10 minutes of that game, San Fran's going to have a hell of a time beating you guys. I mean, the Ravens are going to have a hell of a time beating you guys.
Yeah, and I mean, and like we said earlier in the stream, Baltimore's doing a lot of this, and you're hearing nothing. You're hearing nothing. And as a like say a football coach and just a fan, that excites me. It just tells me I think the Titans are zeroing in, and I think the Baltimore I always tell my players this. I don't want you ever high or too low. And I also say, if you have a bad play, you got to move on to the next play. If you have a great play, you got to move on to the next play. You can't. Here's the thing. You never can buy into your own hype. The moment you start to buy into your own hype, you're vulnerable. And maybe the Titans can catch the Ravens buying into their own hype just a little bit too much.
Here's another thing too. I don't think that the Ravens offense is built to play from behind. I don't think it's built to play from behind. If you guys go up 13 points, that's a run-first offense. Run-first offenses do not do well when having to play from behind because running eats the clock. And when you're playing from behind, you need every second you can get.
Yeah, and also to that point, I mean, they haven't been put in that position. So like Lamar Jackson, I don't even know if he has any fourth quarter comebacks. Like he hasn't had to. So it would put them in an incredible amount of pressure. And absolutely, that the Titans need to find a way to get up on them early, or at least find a way to go into that fourth quarter tied and put all the pressure on the Ravens. And then at that point, okay, Lamar Jackson, you think you're the next hot quarterback. You've got the stage.
Prove it.
Prove it.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
But Coach, it's been a lot of fun, man. This was good. This was a lot of fun.
It's been a heck of a stream, and Butcher Block, I appreciate you letting me be on your YouTube channel. You got a great channel. You got a great community. Everybody in this chat, appreciate each and every single one of you just getting in here, talking some football with us. You know, even if we don't agree, like it don't matter. It don't matter if we agree. That's what makes the streams great, is when we're going back and forth with each other. But so I appreciate everybody in the chat. And like say, Butcher Block, you got a great community, man. And I appreciate everything you've done for my channel and things like that. And I appreciate you letting me be on.
Hey, man, at the end of the day, we are all football fans, and that's all that matters.
That's it.
We're all fans of the game, man. We just represent different teams. But yeah, guys, once again, thank you all for tuning in. I am going to put the Coach Plays link in the description box of this stream. Go and if you are not subscribed to him, you probably should go and do so, because you are missing out if you are not subscribed to that dude. And this goes for everybody. I mean, I know we got 10 or 15, but if for all of you who watch this back, go and subscribe to that man like now, because you don't know what you're
Appreciate
missing.
you.
You don't know what you're missing. He's the man.
Absolutely. And I mean, like say the community on my channel is really starting to grow. We're having a fun time over there. And man, it's a lot like Butcher's Block. I mean, he's got a great community. We're just all in here football fans. We're sports fans. I mean, I also do all sports. So it's like we're now talking about combining communities, getting together, having a good time, just reacting to every single play. That's not like I don't really enjoy me hearing myself talk when I'm doing the live watch alongs. What I enjoy is getting everybody in the chat and reacting to every play.
They score, yeah.
Yeah, like here's the thing. Growing up, I used to love just getting together with a lot of friends and watching a football game and just chatting it up with everybody. And now we're doing that on YouTube and we're chatting it up with people all over the nation, all over the world.
Yeah.
I love it, guys. So yeah, like say, if you feel like coming over to my channel and joining me sometime, man, I would love to have you. I appreciate everyone being here. And, you know, we continue to grow these communities together, and it gets more fun every time. So absolutely, like I say, I appreciate you very much, Butcher Block.
You too, man. It's been a blast. But those are our picks for the NFL divisional playoffs coming up this weekend, guys. Once again, me and the coach greatly appreciate everybody watching, all of the support shown for both of our channels. Y'all are awesome. Greatly appreciated. And that's the bottom line, because the coach and the butcher said so. We gone. Peace.
Peace.